hard on for the guys that he drafts and for the guys that he thinks he finds. There's some serious ego here with this guy. This was the first pick of the Bears, and it was the third round because of obviously the whole Khalil Mack deal. But the way they look at it is that this was their first round pick. David Montgomery catches the ball. He was an absolute beast at Iowa State. You know, he's got a great personality. The coaches love him already. I see David Montgomery being that Jordan Howard role completely and maybe even a little bit more. So as you, I think me and you agree, which means other people might agree, David Montgomery is going to be the top guy. Chicken salad, Tariq Cohen, he's going to stay the third down back in many cases, get some sneaky pass plays. He's hard to tackle. He's small. I still love Tariq Cohen, but I only like him as a flex. I don't think he's going to be a RB2. So Mike Davis is going to get some plays, maybe end of the second quarter type plays, definitely garbage time. But I completely agree, David. David Montgomery is going to be the man.
Yeah, I like it too. And Matt Nagy's offense exploded last season too as well. So I do like him. He's a great offensive mind. He came over from Kansas City, so I definitely like him too as a offensive-minded coach. So I think both running backs are going to have some nice fantasy seasons for us. But David Montgomery definitely, like Kiev was saying. Then moving on to the next one, Packers number 2 receiver. This is actually an interesting battle as well. The contenders here are Geronimo Allison or Marquise Valdez-Scantling. Scantling had worked out in the offseason with several reputable receivers from the past. And then he's really big and fast at 6'4", and he runs a 4.37 40. He did play pretty well last year but he started to tail off and hit the rookie wall towards the end of the year. But on this one, I do like Marquise Valdez-Scantling, actually. Geronimo's had his chances over the last couple of years to prove he deserves to be one of the top receivers here, but I think Scantling's going to take it over. And then we can't forget about St. Brown as well either. He could play into this mix as well. But I definitely like Scantling to win the second receiver job here. But Allison will still see a lot of work as a number 3 receiver.
That's interesting. And I didn't know exactly where that stood. I would have thought it'd been Allison. So thank you for that. I didn't, I wasn't sure about that one. So definitely, I'm going to go with the Packer fan here.
Yeah. And then actually open spring practices, actually Scantling has been running as the number 2 actually in all this opening spring practices. So they definitely, and then Rodgers actually talked him up over the summer as well too. So I definitely like him. He's the guy you want to keep an eye on as a sleeper too this year, kind of like a David Montgomery that in the later rounds you definitely want to grab him. And then the last position battle I want to talk about here is going to be the Chiefs' number 2 running back. Damian Williams already has the number 1 back spot there locked up, but there is an interesting rookie, Darwin Thompson, that I do really like for the Chiefs' number 2 running back, and then actually Carlos Hyde as well. I think Darwin Thompson is going to win the number 2 job. Carlos Hyde has been on quite a few different teams over the years, and it just tells you something when he's traded away by all these different teams or cut by all these different teams. I don't think Carlos Hyde has the speed, and he doesn't have the receiving ability either that Darwin Thompson could provide. So I do like Darwin Thompson as the number 2 for the Chiefs running back. I think Damian Williams will still get about 80% of the carries and catches though, but I do like Darwin Thompson to carve out a nice little role too for the Kansas City Chiefs, which could be a big role for fantasy owners since they score a lot of points.
Yeah, I could not believe they picked up Carlos Hyde over there. He didn't seem to fit. You know,
no, not.
I mean, he's kind of a bruiser, right? That's the way I look at him. I mean, there's not a lot of finesse there. Maybe a goal line guy. Damian Williams did blow up a lot more than I thought he would when Kareem Hunt obviously had all that legal trouble. But I agree with you. Darwin Thompson, actually, I have mentioned from Utah State to possibly take Damian Williams' spot. The one thing I wonder about is why didn't Damian Williams win the job at Miami? Well, I guess it's because Miami is Miami and they're a terrible franchise. But I don't know. It just seems kind of weird. And then I think that Darwin Thompson might be your better handcuff for Damian Williams, you know, than Carlos Hyde, because Carlos Hyde's only got one role in this offense. So completely agree with you there. What do you got next?
That's it. That's all I have for position battles at this time.
Yeah, I got a couple quick ones to mention. Obviously, Zeke's thinking about holding out, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. Zeke wants to win, but there's been some mentions about that. Zeke had 90% of the action over in Dallas. I think he's the most used running back next to Saquon Barkley. Possibly, I think he was a little more than Barkley last year. Barkley was a rookie. I think Barkley will overtake him with carries. I got Barkley the most, and I got Zeke second. But just kind of keep an eye on that one. As far as the Chiefs are concerned, Kareem Hunt's got an 8-game suspension. Duke Johnson was kind of complaining, wanting a trade. I think what's going to happen is after the 7th or 8th week, they're going to trade Duke Johnson. I honestly believe that. And I think that Kareem Hunt's going to slot right into the number 2 spot. So just kind of think about that. If you're going to try to handcuff Nick Chubb, or if you're going to draft Duke Johnson, definitely want to look at that. Marlon Mack, he's going to get about 60% of the carries, but Nyheim Hines had a great year last year, and I think he's going to get 30% of the carries as well. I got an even split again with Derrick Henry and Deion Lewis. Definitely, Deion played a lot of downs last year, but they were also playing some catch up. Leonard Fournette, always injury prone. Somehow Alfred Blue is there, and they have Thomas Rawls and Taj McGowan. Alfred, you're my boy Blue, backing up Fournette. Well, let's just hope Fournette doesn't get injured, because I don't think Jacksonville really has a hell of a lot. One team you failed to mention, Dave, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, yes, that's a good one.
What a mess. They pick up Jordan Howard, but then what the hell happened with Josh Adams? I thought Josh Adams did a fine job last year.
I did too. I really like
go ahead.
Miles Sanders, though, for there. Miles Sanders could be a really good pickup by them as well. He could even beat out Jordan Howard, I think, before the season starts, actually.
Yeah, I have Miles Sanders at 50% as the top, and I have Howard at 35%. And then I don't know if they're going to keep Josh Adams or Corey Clement or Wendell Smallwood, Donnell Pumphrey. This is another kind of mess that I want to avoid. I'm sure someone's going to emerge and someone's going to get lucky, but I wouldn't spend anything after inside of 12 rounds on these guys. Miles Sanders should, but Doug Peterson, he rotates backs. Just know that, So be a little careful on that one. Another crazy one is the Washington Redskins. Adrian Peterson keeps getting older, but Darius Geis, remember he hurt himself in preseason. Well, now he's back. I expect him to get at least 40% of the carries. You also have Chris Thompson and Samaje Perine. Remember, Dave, how high I was on Perine?
I remember.
I don't know what the hell happened here.
Another guy you don't want to sleep on for Washington either is my boy Love. Love actually got drafted by them, and I could love carving on a nice little niche there actually halfway through the year. He probably won't start out getting many carries, but Love is a guy you might want to keep an eye on in the later rounds as a keeper pick for next year, because I don't think Peterson's going to last the whole year, and I don't really and Geis, he's one of my guys that I liked last year, but just like Perine, I don't know how well he's going to do in Washington, actually, but I do like Love as a guy to keep an eye on there.
Yeah, what the heck is Bryce Love? I mean, what are they drafting so many backs for? I totally agree with that. I don't even know why I didn't write him down, because he was so great in college, possible Heisman guy, and he's a little small and he's a little injury prone himself. He's been banged up so much in college. I don't know what's going to happen. Is Chris Thompson going to stick around there? So Adrian Peterson and Geis, I would probably lean Geis to pick him ahead of Peterson right now, but I don't know. It's one I want to stay away from too. David Johnson's going to definitely get the most of the carries out in Arizona. I actually like him a little bit more than other people do. I think you hit Seattle pretty well. Phillip Lindsay had that wrist injury, but he's a beast, and I think he's going to get a lot more carries than Royce Freeman and Devontae Booker. Do you agree with that one, Dave?
I definitely do. But actually what I've been hearing out of training camp from Denver is actually that they're saying 50-50 split, though, for these guys. They're saying they want to give Lindsey a little bit less workload this year to keep him healthy. And they're saying that Royce Freeman's actually built he's bigger and stronger, so he can take more of a pounding. So they're going to try to run Freeman more and have Lindsey more of a receiving role. So they're actually saying right now in the training camp that 50-50 right now for those two guys.
Gotcha. Well, that's interesting, and I don't know what that means because when I watched Lindsey run, he was better by a lot than these other two guys. So we'll see if that comes to fruition when they're losing games and needing to win. I think they're going to put their best guy in. If you're a Baltimore Ravens guy with Gus Edwards, you're kind of disappointed. They picked up Mark Ingram, and Mark Ingram is a damn good back out for the Saints. It's just that he had to be behind Alvin Kamara because Kamara was that good. But I think Mark Ingram's going to get the bulk of that, 60% of the carries, Gus Edwards 20. And
don't forget Justin Hill, though, too.
Justice Hill is the next one, 20% I have with him. Justice Hill is going to overtake Edwards, okay, for second position. And he's the best handcuff for Mark Ingram. It's not going to be Gus Edwards. So Justice Hill is definitely someone to be looking at as a possible sleeper there. And you know how the Ravens are. They're going to run the hell out of that ball.
Oh, they are, yeah.
Yeah, especially if Lamar Jackson gets hurt, too. He's going to be running himself.
Keep in mind, though, too, with Greg Roman there now, too, as offensive coordinator, they might actually throw a little bit more this year, but they're still going to run a lot, though. But I do like this offense, actually, this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Last but not least, well, yeah, it's least, the Miami Dolphins. Kenyon Drake. Cross your fingers drafting him because, it's the Dolphins. They might be throwing the ball a lot. Josh Rosen's going to be competing with Fitzmagic for number one there, too. So that's another one that we have to keep watching, that quarterback battle. Kalen Ballage was great, I thought, last year. I got him at 30%. And then they got Myles Gaskin and Kenneth Farrow. So they're going to be kind of laying back in the cut, but I think Drake at 60, Kalen Ballage at 30.
I do like that one. I like Drake with the 60. I definitely agree with that, Kiev.
Of course, the Patriots, Sonny Michel, how good this guy was, he's going to get the most of the carries. But just remember that Belichick, once he sees your fantasy team winning on his players, he's going to bench them because that's what he is. He's going to probably put in James Devlin McGregor from The Fugitive, and James Devlin and Rex Burkhead, of course, and he'll probably find some other guy with a high motor that we've never heard about to screw everybody's fantasy team. So just kind of prepared for that.
Wayne Harris actually is a rookie that they drafted this year. They're really high on him, actually.
Of course,
they're seeing that he could actually get a chunk of the carries this year too. And then Sony is actually banged up right now as well. He might start on the PUP. So Dwayne Harris is a guy you want to take a look at for New England as well.
Wow, another guy. Jeez. All right, my man. Well, hey, real quick on the quarterback, then we got to move into our rookie dynasty draft. Didn't you have another quarterback, David?
I didn't know. That's all I had.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, let's just move right into the rookie dynasty draft.
Sorry. Eli Manning and Daniel Jones. It was a little bit of a position battle, but what happened is I think Eli's going to win the job. They already said that they're going to start Eli at the beginning of the year, but it's definitely a position battle you want to keep an eye on. Daniel Jones was a high draft pick by the Giants. They passed around Haskins, which really surprised me, but they do say that Daniel Jones has been looking really good in training camp, and he could possibly be starting by mid-year. Oh,
the crowd's going to be screaming for him.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as Eli throws an interception, I think we know how the New York crowd can be. So, Eli, he was a good game manager, and he did some good things in the playoffs. You got to give the guy credit. He's not his brother. He shouldn't be a Hall of Famer in my just because he has 2 rings, but I think his time's about up and move Daniel Jones in, especially because Dave Gettleman drafted him in the 4th or 5th position there. So doing that, he's going to have a little pressure himself to show that this quarterback's good. We'll see what happens with that. All right, my man, let's move into our rookie dynasty draft. Let's go every 5 picks, Dave, if that's cool.
Sounds good.
I'll do 5, you do 5, and then we'll do 6 through 10, and we'll just do maybe 30 of them and mention a sleeper. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, I got Josh Jacobs at number 1 right now. And it's because, he's going to get most of the carries. The Oakland was dying for a running back. They had nothing there. So I think he's going to definitely get a huge share. But second, like we mentioned, David Montgomery from the Bears. If they didn't have a guy like Tariq Cohen back there, I might have David Montgomery first. But as of right now, subject to change. All this is subject to change. It's early. I have David Montgomery